Hey, so after the big, the amazing time at the women's retreat, and and then on Saturday, often when I have a great experience with some people, my impulse is to like avoid them so that I don't mess it up. Um, and I'm trying to kind of get away from that because there's a fear that like there's this very deeply embedded wiring, I guess, that says, you might be able to fake being cool for a little while, but people will figure you out sooner or later. And so it's like, yeah, my impulse, and it's something I recognize. It's something I'm working on. But my impulse is to like not overexpose myself or not overexpose people to me because, yeah, that old childhood fear. And so um, but yeah, so some women from the retreat wanted to go hiking on Saturday, just 6 days after the retreat ended. And I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And so I joined them, and it was great. We had a wonderful time. I didn't screw anything up, as far as I know, um, and I know how silly that fear is in many ways. I'm just being honest that it's something that was wired into me very young, and something that I still have to, yeah, work with. Um, but after that, I came back. Oh yeah, and then I did spinal energetics with somebody named Kennedy Ritter here in Tulsa. And she had us lie on her back, and she um, would touch parts of our body and tell us to breathe deeply into them, usually 3 times. And afterwards, I felt like I was made out of, warm caramel or something. I was just like everything was moving so fluidly and so like warm and yeah, it felt really nice. And then I had to come home and kind of hit the ground running with the kids who, Ahmed was gone for a bachelor party thing, and I had taken the kids to like a little daycare by the hour daycare center. And so as soon as I got them, they were complaining about it, and then we had dinner, and um, you know how it is with kids, you have to like kind of tune into their energy and deal with their energy. Like your energy just doesn't matter. Um, I mean, in the sense that if you're having a difficult time or something, you don't put it on your kids. If you're tired, you try not to. I mean, you might be say like, "Oh, guys, I'm a little bit tired," but you try not to impose like like your difficulty is not their responsibility. Let me put it that way. So, so yeah, as much as I desperately wanted to just like relax and soak it in and integrate, it was like dealing with their kind of jagged kid all over the place energies immediately, and suppressing my own. I don't know if there's a good answer for that. I think sometimes you just have to do that. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. But and then Ahmed came back, and I just kind of crashed. I was just completely spent and and kind of a little bit disgruntled because I wasn't able to kind of integrate that wonderful feeling. I just had to immediately go back into other people's jagged energy, and that's kind of triggering because when I was a kid, I never got a chance to enjoy very much on my own terms because I always had to accommodate for the jagged energies of my parents. And so it's like I didn't get it growing up. I didn't get that sort of safe space for myself, and now I have to give it to somebody else. and that can be kind of tough and activating. And for the most part, it's okay. I know what's going on, and um, I take care of myself when I need to, and do the best I can, and it's fine. But yeah, in this case, I just, whatever kind of activation or difficulty I had, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And all of Sunday, I was kind of, um, yeah, I just kind of felt like being a slug. And I feel like there was some real deep low point, some real deep hopelessness that needed to find expression. And I just kind of, my instinct was, don't try to bright side this, don't try to rally, don't try to paper it over, just see how deep this well goes. And it was dark. It was really, really dark. And I think there's still a part of me that is desperate for safety and desperate to be a good person. And to be a good person, because this is this sort of the childish way of thinking of things. I want to be a good person not because I value that necessarily, um, but because I don't want to be cast out. Because being a good person, quote unquote, is the only way that I can even come close to belonging. And there's a resentment about that, about always giving and doing and accommodating for others and never getting a chance to be like, when is it my turn? When do I get to be a bad person? When do I get to be lazy? When do I get to be sloppy? When do I get to be selfish? Um, Without shame. When do I get accommodated for? And this isn't a critique of my family at all. They're wonderful. They're more than I can expect. It's just stuff that's on the inside of me that has these sort of feelings and resentments against life in general, against my childhood that's already over, thank God, but the resentments are still trapped in my body. So, so there's kind of a sense of like, how bad of a person can I be and still deserve to take up oxygen? It's really hard to explain. I don't even really exactly understand it myself. But there's a sense that if I'm not good all the time, then I'm bad, and then I'm cast out. So anytime I'm bad, then I'm full of shame and fear and self-hatred. And so even when I am, do something to take care of myself, it's not free and clear. It's there's shame, and there's a sense that, oh, I got to make up for this later. I can't just enjoy myself. I can't just take care of myself. It's like there's this balance sheet of my life, and I'm constantly trying to get into the black. Maybe there's no balance sheet. Maybe every moment really is, new in a sense. Obviously, there's causes and conditions, but one way to sublimate those causes and conditions is to Let him speak. So this one is just like, I'm gonna be lazy and not feel bad about it. I'm gonna be a bad person and just be a bad person for a while. No, I mean, it didn't do anything crazy. It was just like I skipped out on doing dishes last night, you know, because I was really tired. Really, really, really soul deep tired. And my husband offered to do them, even though he didn't play soccer that day. He was tired too. But I don't know. It's a subtle tweak. It's a subtle thing. It's not easy to explain, really. But it's just a sense I don't have to earn the right to be here. You know, it's like if I want to do something good for someone, I can. I don't have to. I don't have to in order to outrun some judgment that I'm a bad person and I deserve to be cast out forever. Because that's the subtle belief is if I don't do this, I'm not a good person. If I'm not a good person, I'm a bad person. If I'm a bad person, I don't deserve to exist. And then what? If I don't deserve to exist, then what? I cheated the system. I exist anyway. I don't know. I don't know if the thinking ever got that far. Um, and yeah, there's always another hope. I think a parallel hope, maybe that if I can, if I can be a good enough person, I can make everyone else be good too. And then I don't have to be afraid anymore. And there's this anger at the universe that, like, I did not consent. I don't remember consenting to live in a world with this much cruelty. And I sort of um, recorded on my little voice memo thing last night. I can't live in a world where everyone can be as cruel to me as they want to. That's how I felt as a kid. And if people can be that cruel to people in Gaza, they can still do it to me too. I don't want to live in a world full of cruelty. And I can't accept the fact that I don't have control over that. I want to be a good person so I'm not cast out. And I cast myself out preemptively because it feels safer than being at the mercy of people who can be cruel to me. And again, this isn't present day beliefs. This is old, wired in stuff that that's just wanting to have a voice, I guess. There's another part, just a real cynical kind of shit talking part that it was just a really intense sensation in kind of my throat and chest, and it kind of slowly resolved into like Bill Burr, like smacking on, like eating fast food, smacking his lips, being like, um, I don't know, fuck this universe, man. It's not what you signed up for. It's not who you really are. It's a shit show. It's always going to be a shit show. Fuck it. You're better than this place. I think something in me as a kid knew, like really deep down, that we all actually were capable of better than what was going on. And it still breaks my heart that those capabilities are so seldom utilized. And even by me, I'm a hypocrite too. I get testy and argumentative and insulting to people who disagree with me. I think racists are not like me. I think genocide supporters are not like me. And I think part of this deep, dark episode, I guess, is really getting down to the fact that I'm flawed too. I'm never going to be perfect. Probably never going to be close to perfect. And so much of my lashing out is obviously a kind of projection. Because there is a grim satisfaction in being able to hate people who are different from me. Hate racists, hate fascists, hate anti-science, anti-vaxxer, bad faith, rabbit hole, conspiracy nutcases. Maybe I don't want to admit that I can be fooled too. Maybe I don't want to admit that I hate people who are different from me too, just in a different way. I hate their ideology. I hate their attitude. I believe they can do better. And I judge them the same way I judge myself in the ways that I know I can do better and I don't. And it's all tied in with that fear that if I'm not a good person, then I don't deserve to exist. And maybe they feel that way too. They just have a different, either early on or in their brain wiring, or I mean, I had tremendous educational opportunities, and I have at least on paper higher than average intelligence, and not everybody had either of those advantages. And so, do they not deserve to exist unless they do better? But then you see that what the racists are doing is saying that Palestinians don't deserve to exist, gay people don't have no right to exist, trans people have no right to exist. I mean, we're back to the same question. The paradox of tolerance. And the fact that persuasion and nonviolence can only work on people who have some shame. When people get brainwashed past a certain place, or if they are sociopaths or psychopaths. And so many of the people running things seem to be, pretty close to, if not actually, sociopaths and psychopaths. Then it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you say. Their shit just has to play itself out. They have to collapse under their own weight because they're not going to collapse under logic or reason or morality. And they take so many people down with them. And I mean, I went to 20-year high school reunion, and I saw the girls who used to bully me, and they're, generally speaking, not doing as well in life as I am. But I couldn't have convinced them to be kind to me when we were in middle school, you know. Didn't matter. Maybe like all of our, or most of our species is in middle school, and they're just gonna be little shits. There's nothing you can do except live your life. Try to enjoy it. I couldn't stop them from bullying anyone else either. And that degree of hopelessness and helplessness fucking sucked when I was in middle school, and it sucks now. And I mean, middle school, I focused on things, I learned things, as much as I was generally miserable, I found things to enjoy. And I'm not saying I'm generally miserable now, but the point is there are other things to focus on than bullies. Bullies that I don't control. Bullies that I can't educate or fix or beat into submission. During the World Wars, people were still making art, still doing studies. I mean, who knows? Even what I value as art and science is just not what everyone values. It's just not. Do I get to decide what everybody values? Do I get to declare myself the best and the most enlightened because I said so? If I could somehow put all of the fascists and racists and psychopaths and sociopaths on a small piece of land and do something mean to all of them, do I think the world would be a better place if I did? My inclination is to say no, because I do have values that I don't I don't believe in summary execution or collective punishment. But maybe I'm too squishy. Maybe that's my sensibility. Watching Andor, the new Star Wars kind of show, the rebellion had to do a lot of shitty things. Was it worth it? Was it worth it to destroy a planet killer? Then there was another planet killer. Then there was the First Order. Never fucking ends. Do I believe there's something decent at humanity's core that can somehow be reached? Not, I don't know. And humanity's not a monolith either. All I know is that today I felt a little bit better, sort of pushing through my difficult feelings and doing something nice for my kids, because it felt like a choice and not a penance. It felt less like something I have to do to earn my place as a decent person, and more like, yeah, an option. And an option that I pretty naturally take, even without anyone needing it to coerce me, including myself. It's hard enough for me to work through this shit, and I have many advantages, including total willingness to work through it. Most humans have neither, and I can't force them to have either. Do they deserve to take up oxygen? Do they deserve to live? Do they deserve to be here? Again, my inclination is to say yes. Because they are here, and because I believe in the dignity and preciousness of every human soul. But what does that mean when they don't believe in the dignity and preciousness of every human soul, and they take so many souls? 100,000 people have to die so Netanyahu can learn a damn lesson? He's not going to learn anyway. Who's going to learn? Is there a soul? Is there a point? And that's the thing, too. There's no guarantee there's any goddamn point to this, to anything. There's no guarantee that God or the universe or the Tao thinks anything like I do, or thinks at all. Just vomiting random shit. And some of us get a pretty easy place in it, and some of us don't, and that's that. You can choose what to do in the face of that. Or not. We don't have any choice at all. Maybe we're just trapped in the amber of 8-dimensional what the fuck ever, and even our orientation toward it, our enjoyment or lack of enjoyment, is not up to us. It's tough lately because less I know, the more things that I know that get thrown out, the more the mind keeps trying to find, okay, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? It keeps trying to find even a comfortable nihilism, like something to rest on, and there's nothing to rest on. And so the system freaks out. It throws up old trauma, I guess, which is probably a good thing because once the old trauma can be fully expressed, integrated. I don't know. I don't know how to end that sentence because I don't know what's gonna happen. I try to act sometimes like I know what I'm talking about. Sometimes I feel like I've made amazing progress. Other times I'm like, I'm a babe in the woods, just as much as I ever was. Because maybe the scale of my growth is like this, and the scale of the universe is like. So it's kind of silly to think that I've developed any authority about much of anything. And still, I lecture strangers on the internet, don't I? What is it that liberals are so open-minded they can't even take their own side? It's like a perfect. I mean, it's not just that I don't know what the answer is. There's probably no answer. So what? Just fuck around, make videos if you feel like it, and call it a life? Guess that's what I'm doing right now.